also in your speech you mentioned about the military aspects in there, and I found that quite interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a way of combining, aside from the examples that you listed, but maybe combining soft power with military excursion? I mean, America had the human terrain teams.
I mean, it really has to be the other side of the coin. I suppose the only state where that doesn't count at all is Switzerland.
Yeah.
Switzerland has sort of next to no military. Its soft power is nothing to do with its governance. I mean, could you tell me what sort of government Switzerland has?
No.
It's to do with its solidity. You know, it's a bit like Roger Federer.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really solid, reliable, and a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much. But Switzerland don't need to beat a path out to other people that because they look after the world's money. For the most part, people beat a path to it, and so it's a sort of almost like a negative soft power. So they don't work at it; it just happens.
It just happens.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, you've been involved in quite a lot of excursions out into the world. Was there any particular one that you've done as part of your parliamentary career that really stood out as an example of cultural diplomacy, or a good example of cultural diplomacy?
The Kyrgyzstan one really was, and there is a project here in Westminster which is set up to send parliamentarians and indeed councillors right across the developing world with developing democracies to show them not necessarily how we do it. It's not that we do it best, but this is a way that we've done it. Have a look at it. Let's talk about how it might work in your model and have that conversation, and that takes place really intensively over a weekend.
Yeah. And the other question I also wanted to ask you, given the indices as well that's been mentioned before, do you think civil society has a better chance of pulling off soft power, or is it should it be a government-led initiative?
I think government is foolish, as I said, if they try to abolish using cuts as a reason. Some of the things. So things like British Council, things like Foreign Commonwealth Office cuts, things like the BBC World Service. People all over the world listen to the World Service. If you cut it, then that reduces our reach.
Yeah. Okay, so it should be more civil society then.
Yeah, I mean, I think the civil society, certainly we've got charities that recognise the world, are recognised the world over. Save the Children. So Save the Children, DFID and MOD were into Sierra Leone really, really quickly. Now, there were 3 countries who had Ebola. If you live in this country, you wouldn't even know that there were 2 others. France was looking after one and the States was looking after the other. Right. And the whole thing was being overseen by the World Health Organization. But you wouldn't actually know that.
Right. Well, that's all I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Thank you very
nice
much.
to meet you.